Welcome back to the Huddle. It's that time of year again. It is time to plan for the bye rounds. During rounds 12 to 19, each team has 2 byes, so rounds 12 to 19 are crucial for super coaches. They can either make or break your season, especially if you're an overall player. So we're going to have a look at 4 things that I think are important when planning for the bye rounds. Number 1, we're going to think about, are you focused mainly on head-to-head or overall? The second thing we're looking at is the major bye rounds, rounds 12, 15 and 18. We're also going to have a look at the state of origin players. And finally, we want to look at our team for the home stretch. We want to make sure we've got the trades to get our final team sorted as soon as possible. When bye planning, you need to think about, are you a head-to-head player or are you focused on your overall ranking? Bye planning is usually not as important for head-to-head players as it is extremely important for those who are concerned about their overall rank. Head-to-head players want to save trades for the finals. They usually won't trade out their gun keepers who they want in their final team. They'll save their trades to get their final team sorted as soon as possible, and they'll have extra trades ready for the finals of their Supercoach league, especially if injuries occur. Overall players, on the other hand, will be using plenty of trades to maximize the number of players playing during the bye rounds. This is a great time for them to charge up the rankings, to overtake a lot of head-to-head focused super coaches. And if you've been having a bit of a shocking start to the season, you want to try and get as close to, or if not 17 players in each major bye round to catch up. On the other hand though, some head-to-head players who have had a bit of a shocker and are low in their league ladder, you could use this time to make a few trades, get some wins against other head-to-head players in your league who might not be as concerned about those major bye rounds. So let's have a look at the major bye rounds, rounds 12, 15 and 18. During these 3 rounds, you can see that there are only 4 games played, so therefore only 8 teams are playing each major bye round. Some teams play all 3 major bye rounds and they have extremely great bye coverage. Some play 2 major bye rounds and have decent bye coverage, and some only play 1 major bye round. You might think about getting them in for that specific round, but their bye coverage is not as good. The Rabbitohs and Eels play every major bye round, and players from these teams will be extremely valuable in your team for the entire bye schedule. Sam Burgess, Cody Walker, and even the likes of Corey Norman and Manu Ma'u could be decent options. The Sharks play the first 2 major bye rounds, rounds 12 and 15. Players like Paul Gallen, who's not playing Origin anymore, and if Andrew Fafita or Wade Graham don't get named for Origin, they'll be great options for early to mid bye coverage. The Melbourne Storm play the last 2 major bye rounds, rounds 15 and 18. Players like Jesse Bromwich, if he finds form, and Tohu Harris, once he returns from injury, would have great mid to late coverage. You could think about getting these Storm players in after that first major bye round, round 12. The Roosters and the Bulldogs have a bit of an awkward bye schedule as they play the first and last major bye round. They miss that middle round 15, but if you can cover them there, they could be a hold for the entire bye schedule. James Graham could be a great option from the Bulldogs. As you can see, the rest of the teams only play 1 major bye round. So if you've got Warriors, Broncos or Raiders in your team leading up to round 12, it'd be a good idea to keep them in there for that first major bye round. You could then look at offloading some of those players to either a Titans, Cowboys, Tigers or Dragons player. So for example, if you have Bodene Thompson from the Warriors in your team, he'll cover you for round 12. You could then look to offload him to Jack DeBellin from the Dragons or even a Jason Taumalolo from the Cowboys. You'll then hopefully have a decent round 15 cover. You could then look at getting some Panthers, Manly and Knights players to cover you for that final bye round. Another option could be, if you have Bodene Thompson, after round 12, trade him to a Melbourne Storm player, as Melbourne Storm will then cover you for rounds 15 and 18. Now, this is just a couple of scenarios. In a future video, we'll have a more detailed look at some player options over the bye schedule. When bye planning, it's really important to manage your State of Origin players carefully. State of Origin players do not play rounds 12, 15 and 18. So just because the Melbourne Storm are scheduled to play rounds 15 and 18, Cameron Smith and Billy Slater will not be playing those games. Now, you probably don't have enough trades to trade out all your Origin players and then get them back in after the last bye round, round 19. So you're going to have to decide who you're going to keep and who you're going to trade. You also need to think about that some Origin players get rested and some have early showers, meaning they play reduced minutes during the Origin/bye schedule. What might help you decide on which Origin players you keep is the Origin players team's bye schedule. So for example, Cameron Smith will miss rounds 12, 15 and 18 due to playing State of Origin, but he's also going to miss round 19 as the Storm's second bye is on round 19. So over the entire bye schedule, Cam Smith will miss a total of 4 games. A player like Matt Gillett from the Broncos will only miss 3 games over the entire bye schedule, as the Brisbane Broncos byes fall on round 15 and 18. Lastly, you want to get your final team sorted ASAP. So after that final bye round, round 19, it's time to get your keepers, get the guns in your team. You then want to also get nuffs in your team. Nuffs are just players who will in no way be named in first grade. So be a bit careful there, do a bit of research, get those players who are not going to get you low scores coming off a bench to sting you later. So for example of that is if someone in your starting 17 down the track doesn't play, you get an auto emergency. You want that auto emergency to be a gun. So if you can get 17 to 19 guns in your final team and everyone else just not playing at all, the nuffs, you'll be set for either a great head-to-head final series or getting your rank looking great for an overall player. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments if you have any other advice and who do you think are the essential bye coverage players. Stay tuned for another bye planning video where I use the NRL Supercoach Stats online resource to plan for my team. The link to that and the NRL Supercoach Talk Bye Planner will be in the description. All the best with your planning. Let's go